Que Pasa Calexico? Welcome back to the podcast. Before we begin this interview, I just want to make something a little bit clear. This is not an endorsement. So just from here on, if you hear any episodes where I interview any candidates or people running for office, I'm not endorsing anybody. Personally, I do have my preferences, but I try not to publicize them on my Que Pasa Calexico forum or media or everything that I do with Que Pasa Calexico. So yeah, with that said, let's get started. This is my first interview of this presidential campaign of 2024. Here today is, and just to be clear, this is my friend Alex. Just so you know, but like I said, I'm not endorsing him. You can vote for whoever you want. I'm not telling you to vote for Alex. But my guest today is Mr. Alex Avina, who is running for Calexico School Board. Alex, thank you for requesting to be my first guest of the 2024 campaign season. So, thank you.
Well, thank you, Jose, for making this happen. I'm very excited. This is my first time that I'm in one of your podcasts. And over the years, I've seen and heard and your podcasts and so forth. I've seen, I think, not most of them, but many of them. So now I'm in one of them.
Yeah, I think if you would have said like you've seen all of them, I would have known you. You were like
that. I'm very honest. I'll tell you the truth all the time. I've seen many of them. But I'm excited. First podcast ever.
That you've done?
Ever, huh?
Okay, that's cool. Well,
Cool.
I'm glad that you're here. And before we begin talking about your campaign and all this, why you're running all that, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell the people of Calexico who Alex Avina is, and because you're born and raised here in Calexico. So,
okay. Well, a little bit about myself, Jose. Yeah, like you said, born and raised in Calexico. When there used to be a hospital here in Calexico, 1975. So born and raised in Calexico, went through the public school here in Calexico, Rockwood School and De Anza, and then Calexico High School. Married, have 4 kids. My 4 kids have graduated Calexico High School. They attended William Monroe Junior High, Erika Marena, Bland Charles, Cesar Chavez, and then high school, right? They graduated. My youngest, Anthony, he just graduated high school last year. So there's no more young kids, minors in my house. They're all adults and they're kind of doing their own thing now.
So what was it like growing up in Calexico, and what is it like the 80s, right?
The 80s. Oh, you mean making me feel old, Jose. It's in the 80s. Yes, I graduated. Not graduated, promoted from kindergarten in 1981. I remember Miss Anderson was a teacher. That was her last year. She retired that year. So Miss Anderson, I remember that clearly. Going to Rockwood School, and I remember most of my teachers, well, all of the teachers in my elementary, they all had a great impact in my life.
You went to Rockwood,
right? School, growing up as a migrant student, always starting the school year late, like October, and leaving the school year early, like in May. Some later on, June, but we would leave in May. My parents had to follow the corrida, up in Salina, La Lechuga. So my first couple of years, that was our life.
Oh, wow. It's crazy. Like, I've known you for so many years, and I
never shared that with you.
No,
I was a migrant student. Yeah.
I mean, I did know you were a migrant student, but I didn't know that you would leave early and come in late.
Yes, and it wasn't like maybe until like 3rd, 4th grade when my parents decided to leave us with our aunt. So the last day of school, my dad would be waiting for us. The last day of school, get in the van and take off to Salinas.
Wow, that's crazy.
But when we were kinder, 1st, 2nd, 3rd grade, we would just leave early.
And just to point out that you're the oldest of three kids, right?
I'm the oldest, again, putting out my age, Jose. Oldest, the 80s, come on. So yes, I'm the oldest. I'm 49. My sisters, they all graduated from Calexico High School, and proud to say that I was the first one to graduate high school, go to college, and then my 2 sisters did the same. So I give myself a little bit of credit, being a good role model for my siblings.
Yeah, and especially I don't know if are you first generation?
First generation, yes. My parents are from Mexicali, and neither of my parents graduated high school. My mom dropped out of school in 6th grade. My dad dropped out of school in 10th grade. So, yeah, first generation in my family, especially on the side of my dad. No, my mom's side, actually both, to graduate high school.
But I mean, what I was talking about was like first generation.
Oh, okay.
Mexican American. You're
yes, born here. Yes, yes, and I think all my cousins, first generation, because all my uncles, I believe all my uncles on both sides, they were all born in Mexico.
And was it something that your parents kind of, because I, speaking for myself, my parents never really talked about, going to college or, they were doing their own thing. And it was never like something that, was it something that your parents...
You know what they did later as I got older, of course, in high school, that was a conversation. And they came back from the counselors, back in high school. Actually, I had Mr. Rendon. He was my counselor.
He was my counselor too.
And I guess my parents heard it from him because I think one of the workshops they went to, my parents talked about college and so forth. So yeah, it was mentioned, but not at an early age, no.
Because I mean, another thing that I want to point out is that me and your sister were from your youngest sister, same grade,
right, yeah.
class of 2000. And I remember she was always, super smart, really responsible. Knowing you as an adult, because I kind of remember you being a sub somewhere, like when I was in high school. But I mean, knowing you as a friend, I don't know if you were like the studious person, was it?
No. And I guess I won't say in this podcast what kind of student I was, but no, I was a good student. I was a good kid. But I did struggle a little bit in high school, elementary school. I think great kid. I remember being student of the month one time, and our counselor took us to Pizza Hut back then, and Miss Gonzalez took us to Pizza Hut. That was awesome in her van. And then junior high was good, but yeah, in high school, things changed a little bit, but my parents always stayed on top of it, and the teachers kind of kept me in check. But no, I did good. I did well. But yeah, like you said, my sister was very smart. She was a GATE student, and yeah, she was a smart one. She's a smart one in the family.
Out of the three of you guys. So you graduated high school, and then did you go to IBC?
Yeah. So I went to IBC here, and then San Diego State locally. And I started with my major originally was law enforcement. Took a couple of law enforcement courses, introduction to law enforcement. And then I decided to change. I decided, that's not the kind of job I want to have, So then I changed it to counseling, and then I changed it to teaching. But
teaching was never something that...
No, never. In high school, I never thought I was going to end up as a teacher. It wasn't until my year and a half at IBC that I switched to teaching.
For me, I wanted to be a teacher, and then... I was lucky enough to get a job where it could be a career, and then but I think teaching was something that I always wanted to do. And then you became a teacher, and then how did it go from just trying to move up the ladder that you decided to become an administrator, or how that began?
Yeah, well, the typical, you start subbing, and then from there, I got my first assignment in Barbara Worth Junior High. My first year teaching there. Then from there, I came to Calexico. And interesting enough, I applied. I left Brawley Elementary because in that time, 1999, Calexico paid a lot more. And I remember, I was 23 years old, 24, a young parent. I had 2 kids already by then. And income was super important. It still is. But at that time in my life, income was super important. So I applied to Calexico. Okay, they pay more back then. And I think my starting salary in Calexico, if I'm not mistaken, was $28,000.
In 99?
In 1999. As a first year teacher in Calexico. $28,000, big bucks back then. And then Brawley, I think I was getting $24,000. So $4,000 was a lot of money back then.
And then
the
commute.
Me.
The commute.
And the commute, yeah. So that's how I came back to Calexico. Taught at Jefferson Elementary for 5 years. And then 5 years, began doing my master's degree, probably my 3rd year. And then I transferred to the junior high, William Moreno Junior High. I taught math there for a while. And then 2 years later, I went to apply for my first admin job. Got hired at the County Office of Ed as site administrator for the alternative ed program. So alternative program for the County Office of Ed is basically for those students who have been expelled from the school district. Mainly those are the students, right? Or students have issues with attendance and so forth. And then they put the community school. And that was, I stayed for 7 years. 7 years. Then I came back to Calexico, to Jefferson School as the principal. Yeah. So interestingly enough, when I got hired in Calexico as a teacher, Mr. Pacheco was the principal. He welcomed me to the school, gave me the keys to the school, and said, "Hey, have a great year, Mr. Avina," and send me out my way to the classroom. So when I came back, what was this? 14 years later, yes, I got hired in 2000 at Jefferson, and in 2014 I come back to Jefferson as the principal. So Mr. Pacheco was the interim principal. The principal that was there, Mr. Padilla, just moved up to district office, and Mr. Pacheco was a retired administrator, so he came in to sub. So again, he welcomed me to the school, gave me the keys to the school. This time, not the classroom, the keys to the school, the master key. And, hey, have a great year, Mr. Avina. So that was nice.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was nice, crazy. I stayed there at Jefferson for as a principal for 6 years. And during that pandemic, I was transferred to William Moreno Junior High, and I stayed there for 2 years. And then I'm currently now at Hedrick Elementary School in El Centro.
How long have you been?
I've been there for 2 years.
2 years. Okay. So you said that all your kids already graduated. A lot of the times, people that run are like, I want to run because I want something better for my kids. And you decide. I mean, obviously, you couldn't run before because you were employed in Calexico. Mm-hmm. Something that if you're an employee in Calexico, you can't run for the school board. But if you, for some reason, would have been able to do it before, when your kids were here, you think something you would have done, or?
Well, actually, no, that was a possibility. Like in 2007, remember I said I was a teacher at William Moreno Junior High. So I left to the county office in 2007, and I could have ran back then. I wanted to. I thought about it. People were reaching out to me, trying to encourage me to do so. And I really thought about it, but it was my first year as an administrator. So my goal was to do a great job as the first year administrator, and that was my priority. And then my kids were young back then. Yeah. They were young, and you think about it. Say, your kids are in school in the district, and you do want the best for your kids. So I really did want to run for the school board because I thought, I could maybe help make sure my kids have a better education if I'm in the board. But I decided it was not the best time, And now that I have extra time per se, because as principals, you're really busy, but I do have time. I do have time. My kids, like I said, my youngest graduated high school. I have no little ones at home no more. Not having to practice or do homework with kids or take them to practice. So I do have more time now. I can focus. Now my priority is it's going to be not my kids, but other people's kids. All the kids that we serve in Calexico.
Community.
Yeah, so I'm doing it for those kids, for the kids of other parents.
And the thing is, like, when we talked about politics and stuff, like, I think I'm the one that's mentioned the most that I'm gonna run for city council, and I think you mentioned it a couple of times. And I never thought that you would beat me to it to run for.
But you are involved with, aren't you?
I'm in the planning commission.
In the planning commission, right? So, kind of.
So a little bit. But I don't have to do all this dance where because you get appointed by somebody to be in the. But
next time, next time.
And I think going back to what you said about you have more free time because I think that's how we kind of. Our wives, known each other longer than me and you have known each other. And I think the way we kind of met each other was because of our kids, basketball games, quinceañeras, all these things that, because your daughter and my oldest son are the same age, so they kind of grew up together. So we had all these events that we went to, and that's how we kind of became friends. And yeah, I still have a 15-year-old at the house, 16, soon to be 16. That there's a lot of time invested, and then that I don't think I can do it 100% to to what I want to do.
And that's like, the 100%. And right now I'm in a time in my life where I can give it 100%. And excited to do so.
And going back to, the board, there could be a chance where, not all five, but all five seats are for grabs, kind of, because there's 2 people running for re-election.
And then there's 2 others that are running for other
positions. Actually, there's 4 seats that would be.
So Mr. Pacheco's running for IID. So if he wins, I believe his seat will be open. And then Mr. Calderon, he's running for city council. So if he wins, I believe his seat will be open. Because I believe they have to resign. They can't hold two offices, I believe. So, potentially 4 new members.
4 new members. Because the only one that would eventually stay would be... Eventually would be... If all 4 leave, would be Mr. Contreras.
Yes.
You've been somebody that you because of your job you have to go to the board meetings, and you see like the dynamics of the board members, how they react to each other. How do you think some of the candidates you see? How do you think you would kind of blend or not blend in, but like be an effective board member as to kind of, because in a way you play this dance where like you kind of have to convince other board members and the superintendent to go your way when it comes to some of the things you want to push for the school district. How do you see yourself mingling with these
well, my plan is to work well with the rest of the if I get elected, right? If I get elected, and if I'm the board, my plan is to work well with them. Work as a team in collaboration with one purpose. And the purpose is student success. We want our students to be successful, graduate high school, and be ready to move on, college and beyond. So that is the goal: serve our students. And so every policy that's made, conversations, discussions, debates, what have you. It all has to be, towards that goal, that purpose, right? And I think if you just focus on that, the conversations, the collaboration will go smoother. But I think issues happen when people lose sight of why you're there to begin with. And so you start having maybe difference of opinions and so forth. So it's important to always stay focused on the purpose, and it's serving the students, getting them ready for, preparing them for giving them a high quality education. That's where we're there. Yeah.
Do you see this school board thing as a political position? Do you see it as politics?
Well, it is politics, because when the fact that we're campaigning to get elected, that in itself is politics. So yes, it's politics. Not like politics like our governor, presidents, that the high level politics, but there's politics involved, and so yeah, I'm excited. It's something new that something I've never done before, so I'm excited. And because like you mentioned earlier, I think as a principal, you do attend the board meetings, and so for many years, I've attended board meetings, every single board meeting. Until recently in Calexico, things changed towards the end. It was only if you had an agenda item, you would have to be there. But for the first several years, I had to be there. In El Centro, we have to be there. So you get to see, how the dynamics of the board and how politics, kind of play a role in everything. Yeah.
Hey guys, sorry for the interruption, but I want to take this time to thank my sponsors. My friend Jake, Camilo Garcia, Eddie Lopez from Cultivating Ideas, this year's new sponsor, the Valley's champ, Gio Rebollar. And finally, I want to thank Will Torres and the whole VSN team, the Valley source for Imperial Valley sports. And if you want to become a sponsor, you can go to anchor.fm/Que Pasa Calexico, hit the support button in the middle of the page, and you can sponsor the podcast from 99 cents to up to $10 a month. Your sponsorship helps the podcast sound and look better, and also reach out more people by doing paid promotions. I want to thank all my sponsors once again, and now back to the show. Do you feel that you being in education for so long, 25 years, I think one of your signs says 25 years, 25 plus years in education. And, you've kind of been, when it comes to the teaching, because there's classified and certificated. When it comes to certificated, you've been kind of like the, in every part of been a sub, a teacher. Now you're administrator. Do you think that bringing that knowledge to a school board, it would help the school board? It would help the students, the community, with your decisions, with the way you would, make choices when it comes to voting for items and stuff like that?
Yes, well, that's a great question, Jose. And the answer is yes, absolutely, 100%. I think it's super important that whoever's in the board, the better understanding you have how schools work and the dynamics of being a teacher, working with parents, working in the offices, the secretaries, the better understanding you have, I mean, it helps when making decisions. It helps understanding. I've been a classroom teacher. I know what it is to be in the classroom and teach. I know what it is to teach students with different challenges. Kids bring challenges to school. Gaps. If it's language. They're English language learners, or students with some learning disabilities, or just students who have they need help in certain areas, or just high achieving kids. They need to be challenged. I know what that is, and the challenges that the teachers face. Therefore, I know what supports they need. Somebody that has never been in those shoes doesn't really know, right? So that helps. I think that's super important. As a principal, just working with the school budget and trying to maximize your dollars to have the biggest impact on student success. As a principal, I've done that for many years. So I think that's something important to bring to the table. Of course, you'll be working with not me directly per se, but a much larger budget, being responsible for the finances of the district, because when you approve policies and so forth, you are responsible. Yeah. So having that in mind, that as maximizing your dollars to have the highest impact on student success, that's what it's for. So I bring that experience. I've done that. So to answer your question, I guess, yes, it's important.
Yeah. And I think budgeting is a huge question and a huge issue in every district. And the conversations we've had is, as friends, a lot of times, especially ever since you moved to El Centro, has been negotiations. Right now we're in negotiations. And since you left to El Centro, you're like, well, they negotiated and they settled in a day.
Yeah, it goes like really smooth and quick.
So, like, for instance, we've been, trying to negotiate since June. How do you, also kind of deal with two different bargaining units that, and especially in a district that's so big, because I think that's a different monster when it comes to Calexico Unified School District, that, it's not only in El Centro, probably in Imperial, it's the elementaries and the high schools. Yeah. There's two different districts.
Yeah, of course, the larger the district, the more the challenges are bigger, more of a challenge. But, negotiations, ideally, they should go smoother. There's no reason for negotiations to get, let's just say, ugly, because sometimes it feels like it gets like that. Before I left to El Centro, I was here during the previous negotiations, 2020, 2022, 22, I think.
Yeah, I think it was like 3 years we were behind.
22. So I know the certificate was behind 4 or 5 years. You guys were also behind 3 in CSEA. So, I mean, it gets ugly, I'll talk about the certificate, they were at the verge of going on strike, very close, and, so there's no need for that. And with classified, I've seen the latest board meetings where, it seems like, at least the perception is that the district is not wanting to meet or meeting with CSEA, they cancel meetings and so forth. So I don't know what's happening. I'm not in the in that side to see what's happening, but it should be happening. You know what? Because at the end of the day, you don't want people to be upset. If people are upset, they feel they're not valued, they feel disrespected, they feel like they're not important. You know what? They're not gonna give it 100% at work. You know, and even though most people do, most people stay after hours. You know what? If you compensate your teachers, your certificate, your classified staff, I mean, they'll go above and beyond, right? So there's no need for this to happen. And why is it happening? There's many factors. But if I'm in the board, one of the things that I would like to see and push is for smoother negotiations. Because at the end of the day, kids pay. Pay.
Yeah, and I think that, that's something that I when the teachers were almost going on strike, you could notice that a lot of teachers weren't taking those extra assignments or staying after school. And even though that a lot of teachers don't get paid to stay after school, they do it but they felt that, because you mentioned, they felt like they were being disrespected because they were not being compensated, adequately. A lot of teachers weren't doing a lot of those things that they would do, for free a lot of the times. Yeah. And I would see, the school at 3:10, 3:20, like empty, because normally like you would see kids walking around campus because this teacher was, in their classroom a little bit extra, this other teacher, and they were doing it because, they were like trying to make a point, Yeah. So yeah, you can tell that, when they feel like, especially, everybody like us too, like when we feel like we're being disrespected, like we don't, like, I mean, we do our job, but like we don't go above and beyond too.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's my goal. Make sure that we have smoother negotiations and yeah. And I think this last time around, to what I heard, I wasn't in the district no more, but they went a little bit better than the previous time.
Yeah, the last year, yeah.
Yeah, so that's a good sign. But now, I don't know, but now it doesn't sound like it. Okay, but
yeah, I mean, I don't want to say much, but if you go to the meetings, you can tell like there's people that aren't happy with the way things are going. And that's public. People, if you go to the meetings, you can go to the district, YouTube and see those meetings. With mentioning bargaining units, you've been endorsed by CSEA.
Yes.
And you're still in limbo to see what ACT.
Yes, ACT. We had some interviews. They had a forum where the candidates presented. 3 of us were there. And then they decided they needed to do, and that it wasn't well attended. Not many people attended, so we had interviews via Zoom. They recorded each one of us separately, and my understanding is that those videos were presented to teachers during the week. And I think this week they were voting, so hopefully I get endorsed. I get endorsed by ACT, and we'll see. Hopefully we'll find out next week.
Why is it important for you to be endorsed by?
I want to have the support, just like I have the support of CSEA. I want to have the support of the teachers, because at the end of the day, you guys, CSEA and the teachers, you're the ones that we're working with kids. CSEA, the backbone of the district, making sure that everything works so that teachers can teach, right? Kids can't learn and teachers can't teach in buildings who are not adequate. ACs are not working. They're filthy. No restrooms. We need to feed our kids. The technology, the internet, devices. Getting supplies in the hands of teachers and students. The purchasing, the transportation. There's tons of different tasks that CSCA takes care of so that students can learn, right? So it's because of teachers and classified staff that kids can have a great learning experience. So I want to be endorsed by you guys, by CSCA and ACT, because I'm here to support the staff, because the staff is going to make sure that kids are learning. Yeah. I'm not going to be teaching the kids. As a board member, you're not there teaching kids. It's not the staff. So we need to support our staff. Yeah. That makes sense?
Yeah, for sure. And how, this is your first campaign. Yeah. How, what have been your experiences? Is it,
well, it's not easy. It is work. I'm putting the work in, and I need to, continue working. It's also fun. For two reasons. One, I'm it's connecting with my kids. Like my daughter Samantha. She's I call her my campaign manager. Yeah. She helps me with my social media and so forth, and she's out with me, knocking on doors and so forth.
And just to point out, I always say, I don't invite people to when it's campaign season, and I want to make sure that I say that Samantha was the one that told me, "Hey, when are you gonna have my dad on your podcast?" So that was the point where the conversation started.
Okay.
I didn't invite Alex, his daughter.
Yeah. She told me to Dad, you had to have a podcast with Jose. And then I think we talked about it a while back, at the beginning, and we kind of postponed it for later. And my daughter has been the one, "Hey, Dad, when are you gonna have the podcast with Jose?" So I
just want to point out
she's been a good campaign manager. Yeah. And then my son, the 18-year-old, he's been the one helping me with, putting up signs, going to Mexicali, picking up the signs, coming over and just putting them everywhere in Calexico. And it's work. It's not that easy. So he's been helping me with that.
What is Jackie?
She's supporting because
contributed to.
Well, I'm never. She's tolerating my. my stress, I guess. No, not stress, but I'm out a lot. I come home late from work, and then just get a shower, eat something, and I take off. And she's been supportive. She's been out with me too, putting up signs, and she always has great ideas about locations. And I'll put the sign somewhere. She's telling me, "No, you know what? You should move it over here." Okay, that makes sense. We'll move it over.
Yeah. Yeah, I can tell. Like she's like that. She's like really detailed. Like, oh no, this looks better.
How come we put a sign there? Nobody's gonna see it there. It should have been over there. That's right. Let's put one over there.
And that's something that I've been talking with my wife and some friends that you've been really strategic to like every route I take, like there's a sign of.
Yeah. There's one that I put I think it's a good idea. I don't know if it is, but the car wash, the
quick
quack, right? Car wash. As you exit the car wash, there's one right in front. So my idea was, okay, I'm gonna target all the people that wash the cars. So I don't know if people actually see it, but no, it's there.
Yeah. There's a lot of places where like you wouldn't tell, like somebody would put a sign there and like, oh, there's Alex. And you've been a principal for a while now here in Calexico. You were a principal here in Calexico. I'm assuming that you've had experiences with former parents that during out in the campaign.
Oh yeah. So I didn't finish sharing. So one of the positives and fun things about this campaign is I'm getting to see a lot of ex-students and ex-colleagues that usually you don't talk to them, but now because I'm out there, we encounter each other and we have conversations about many different things. Like Mr. Navarrete, Mr. Navarrete, the band director at the high school. He was one of my teachers when I was at William Moreno as a principal. He was my band director at the school. Mm-hmm. So he's an amazing band teacher. He does great for kids, and I support everything he did. He helped rebuild the program at William Moreno Junior High those 2 years that I was there, and I supported what he did at so Mr. Navarrete. So now that I see him and we interact, and especially because of the issue that happened at the elementary schools, that the band program was eliminated. Mm-hmm. of course, Mr. Navarrete, a huge advocate for music, right away reached out to me because he knows how much I support band. He reached out to me, and the parents, his parents, that the ones in the band, the kids of the band in the high school, a lot of them were my parents when I was at the junior high or the elementary at Jefferson. So a lot of them reaching out to me with a concern, and it's my concern as well. So we've been talking a lot and so forth. He's invited me to the high school, to the games. The parents have invited me to the games, and they have the fundraiser, the carne asada. So parents have been reaching out to me. So I finally went the other day to help out with the carne asada, and I think I grilled they told me I grilled half of what was there, and they had over 100 pounds. So probably like 50 pounds of meat or 60. I helped grill. That was fun. Just talking to parents, talking about things of the past, their kids. So that's fun. So I enjoy that.
Yeah, that's cool. So if you were to, run into somebody in the elevator and they would ask you, why should I vote for Alex? What's your elevator pitch?
Well, one, we want to increase student success. I don't know if I mentioned this to you before, but last year's high school graduation rate is 87%. Not terrible, but it could be much higher. So that means 87%, that means 13% of the students didn't graduate. And this is only counting the kids that were there for 4 years, since freshman year. Okay, we know we have kids that come in 10th grade, 11th grade, maybe from Mexicali or someplace else. This is only for the kids who have been there since freshman year. 87%. And that was an increase from the year before. If I'm not mistaken, I want to say it was 6% increase. So last year, the year prior was 81%. So Centro Union High School District, there are two high schools because they're high school district. They are 91%, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that one, but it's somewhere in the 90s.
The 90s.
It's 90. It's above 90. I want to say it was 91%, maybe more. We can check, but
can you check? No, I don't have anybody checking that.
So again, it's higher. So we need to increase that because that's super important. Our students in the state exams, we're very low. We're very low. Yeah, there's been progress. Yes, that's good, but we're low, especially our EL kids, like super low. So that's something that doesn't sit well with me. I mean, why? Why aren't we seeing more progress, given that we are the district that receives the most funds? We have the LCAP funds. Prior to the LCAP funds, back in 2010...
I think I'm always at my floor. It was an elevator pitch.
Oh, that's right. Thank you for telling me. So let me go back. So high school graduation, student success, that's one I want to increase. How are we going to increase that? Well, two ways. One, we need to make sure that the district manages the budget much more effectively and efficiently. Why? Because that provides resources for kids, programs, and so forth. But also the staffing. We need to make sure that we have the best teachers. Our first-year teachers here in Calexico are around 9th place in the pay salary, about 9th place. So that means that when we hire teachers, teachers are going to apply in other districts, and they're first going to go to the other districts that pay much more, and whoever doesn't get hired, then they come to Calexico, right? That would be like the common sense thing, right? So that's a concern. When I was a principal at William Moreno Junior High, the entire school year I had a vacancy for a science teacher. We couldn't find a science teacher. Why? The salary. The salary. And same thing goes for admin. I mean, we've had a position in the district. It used to be a director. Now they lowered it down to a coordinator. I'm not sure why. But that position has been open for way over a year. Christine Colugna, she retired when I left the district 2 years ago. Okay, that opening's been almost there for 2 years.
Wow.
Can they find anybody? Doesn't anybody want to come to work to Calexico? So, so I see those things. So it goes back to the budget. we don't have the money. And if we don't have the money, that means we're spending it wrong, So I guess my 3 points. I know the elevator already went up and down. Huh?
Yeah. We
So
went
the 3 point, my three priorities is I want to make sure and support the district in having running the budget more efficiently and effectively. 2, increasing student success, including our high school graduation rates. And 3, staffing. We want to attract and retain the best staff. Period.
Yeah, and that was one of the questions that I have for you. How important do you think it is that, our salaries are competitive? And it's always, we always talk about budgets and salaries is a huge chunk out of the district's budget. But, when you see, I think in the last budget that was presented to the board, I think like a month ago, there was like a 40-some rollover from last year to this year, 40-some%. So you're thinking like, why not invest that money, like you said, and for the students, which could be materials, but a big part of it is investing in the staff so that we get the best staff.
Yes. Well, I'm not on the board right now. I don't really know the numbers exactly. I mean, kind of what you're saying, but I mean, it sounds about right. But again, if I'm elected, if I'm in the board, one of the things that I want to see is crystal clear is our finances. What can we afford? Where are we spending the money? So that's something I always want to see clearly. So we can make better, informed decisions. Can we afford or not? And if we can't, well, why not? Where is the money going? Do we need to relocate and stop spending here to invest over here? So that's one of the things. If I'm elected, if I'm on the board, I want to see crystal clear. Where's the money? Where are we spending it? And are we getting our bang for our buck? If we're spending tons of money on this over here, okay, is that giving us what we want, higher student success? And if it's not, okay, let's not spend it there. Let's reallocate to something else. Salaries, that's an example.
Yeah, and I understand the fact, because it's something that's always come up is that the Calexico Unified School District is the biggest district and they get the biggest budget. Yeah, like being the biggest district, obviously you're gonna get the biggest budget. But, you have more employees, more campuses to maintain. Yeah. So, but, even besides that, like I said, like in that budget, we saw a huge chunk of money that was being rolled over. And the bad thing is that a lot of the times, if you don't spend the money, the state's going to be like, why are you not spending this money? Maybe you don't need that much money.
Yeah, it could be. There's different funds from different places. But kind of lost my thought right now. Something I was listening to you. I was gonna say something. I didn't want to interrupt you. But what was I gonna say? I had a senior moment here. I'll come out right now.
Yeah.
Let me get a drink of water.
So go ahead. I don't want.
No, go ahead. It'll come out right now.
No, I was trying to see if you maybe like if I brought something up, maybe it would bring it up, but
yeah, it'll come out right now.
Yeah, because we were talking about budgets, we were talking about investing in teachers or staff in general. It's not coming up. The rollover, like money that or state funds.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it came back. So you mentioned that because we're the largest district, we get the most money. Yes, but it's not just because we have more students, we get more money. We have more students with needs. So in the LCAP, we get extra funding because we have a large population of EL students. We get extra funding because we have kids who, poor kids, and the homeless and our foster kids. We get money for them. So they don't get duplicated. It's just, if you meet one of the criteria, then you get money for that. So Calexico, because we do have a large population of EL students and low income students. So just because of that, you get extra money. It's the I forgot the full term, but it's the concentration grant in the LCAP. So if I'm not mistaken, I believe our district, at least last year, got an additional $38 million for serving kids who are poor and EL kids, So that money is intended specifically to help them, support them, right? Through, staffing, resources, programs, you name it. And our EL students are the ones who are struggling the most right now. If you look at our state exams, they're in the red. So,
do you feel that does the board or having a board that doesn't support a lot of the things that a lot of teachers or classified want to see go through, does it impact employing new staff? Like you mentioned that one position that's been open for 2 years now. You mentioned that you had a science teacher that you couldn't hire.
Had an opening.
Do you think sometimes there's teachers that there's somebody out there that could fill that position now, but being that we struggle a lot with negotiations, a lot of the times there's drama with our with our politics here in Calexico, whether it's school board or city council. Does that impact if you're a young teacher, like going back to you?
I believe it does. People just don't go to districts because of the salary. That's the biggest factor, right? Who doesn't want to make more money to support their own families, right? But also the work environment, the culture of the school, that plays a big role. I wouldn't mind working in a district where they pay me maybe a little bit less, but it's a great place to work. You go to work happy, you feel supported, you feel successful, you feel like you're making an impact, you're being recognized. That's great. Even though you can pay less, that's fine. Versus maybe a district where you can pay a lot more money, but you're not happy, you're stressed, it's difficult, So going back to your question, it's a factor. It plays a role. Yeah.
Okay. We're at almost 50 minutes. I normally
50 minutes.
Yeah.
Wow, it seems like 10.
And I try to keep it at 45, like 50 minutes, 45, because when you go to El Centro, it takes you 20 minutes, 20 minutes back. Okay. That's 40 minutes. So like in that one trip, you can listen to the whole episode.
That's a good way to measure.
So like, that's the happy medium. So, anything that I didn't ask you or we didn't talk about that you would like to?
Well, I mentioned that my 3 priorities, right? The budget, the student success, the academic performance, staffing. Those are my priorities. But what I didn't mention is my commitment to student safety, right? That's a given. That shouldn't even be like a priority because that's something that's automatically should be set in stone, right? Student safety, collaborating effectively with school board members, that's super important. But the safety, I do want to tell the audience the safety is a priority. Communicating with parents, this recent concern that came up with the messages and the whole social media with potential threats and so forth. We had a lot of concerned parents, and it seemed like a lot of parents didn't know what to do. And instead of reaching out to the right people, like the district or the police, they just, parents, not knowing what to do, continue reposting these messages. It created a panic amongst the community. So my thing is, parents should always know that how to reach the district, what to do in these situations, because we're partners. We work as a team. So as the board, one of my priorities is making sure that we communicate effectively with the parents, so they always know what to do in any circumstance, who to call, and so forth. So that's important. Yeah, that's pretty much it, Jose. I can talk for more, but you give me the 45-minute speech there. And I guess one more thing to wrap it up, why vote for me? Like I said, I mean, I've been a teacher. I've been a school principal. I've been there with staff working day in and out all day long. I understand the challenges. I understand the needs. Four of my kids already went through the K-12 system here in Calexico. So as a parent, I got to see from the outside looking in as a parent, and then as a principal working from it within looking out. So I have a good understanding of what the challenges are for parents and students. My 25 years of experience, I believe I'm a good candidate, the best candidate for this. So vote for me. November the 5th, or sooner if you get the mail-in ballots. Well, everybody's going to get mail-in ballots at home, so you can vote from home. So.
Well, thank you for, spending some time and, doing and you know what? The other cool thing about this episode, this is number 200.
Oh, really?
200 episode.
Oh, good. It's rounding the number, 200. Yeah.
So like I mentioned before, this is not an endorsement. This is just another conversation with a candidate for, Calexico Unified School District. If you're interested in being on the podcast, send me an email at quepasacalexico@gmail.com. Like I always say when it's in election season, I try not to invite anybody just because I don't want to show favoritism. Anybody that, especially, but the only thing is if you reach out to me, this is like a hobby for me. So if I have the time, my dad, just had a surgery, so I might be busy in the next couple of days, weeks. But if I have the time, I will give you the time to be on the podcast and show your campaign and your what you're running for. Alex is here because his daughter reached out. He reached out. I never told him, hey, be on the podcast. It was something that is
my daughter, my campaign manager. Yeah. Yeah, you're back with me. You're not endorsing me, and that's why you told me no when I say, "Hey, Jose, I have a shirt I can give you." You said no. You said no to my shirt. Okay.
Yeah. And like I said, like in my personal life, that's something else. But on this platform, I don't endorse people. Even though, like I said, I might know who's the best candidate. I won't say it here, but. Like I said, if you're interested, let me know, and I'll try to squeeze you in. And thank you again. Good luck with your campaign.
Thank you.
And thank you guys for listening or watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.